you know, if you have it written out, well, yeah, I guess you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do that. Because if you write them out, I don't know that it's gonna know every time, you know, other than with dollars, numeric stuff, time,
Yeah.
that it's gonna know to convert it.
Yeah, on some it automatically, like the time, it automatically converts it for me.
Yeah.
But
Like on, well, when they say o'clock or whatever, but if they just say, you know, what time did you get there? I got there at 5. It doesn't know to convert it, does it?
Right, no.
Yeah. So you have to put a symbol in there that's gonna tell it that it's time.
And when you write 5 o'clock, say the person said I got there at 5 o'clock. I think I've asked this before. How do you write it?
It's F-I-V-E. F-I-V-E, o'clock,
Okay.
is the way that I do it. That's the way that I was taught. That's how I do it now. The way that I was taught was this with this means 9 o'clock, o'clock. So now you're saying it twice. This is already 9 o'clock. Okay? So you don't want to do it twice. But some people do it like this. I don't. I was always taught that if you're going to have letters, use the letters. Okay? That's the way that I was taught. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. English-wise, I have no idea. But that's the way that I was taught how to do it, and I still do it now. And it's N-I-N-E. Okay? But I would really get away from that. If you're doing 9 o'clock, if they're saying 9 o'clock, and you do it that way with this, be careful. Okay? Now, if your employer wants you to do it that way, then you're gonna do it however they want you to do it. Okay? But that's just, I was taught that it meant 9 o'clock, o'clock.
So if mine is doing that when I type in o'clock, how do I change that?
If yours does what?
If I just type 9 o'clock,
Mm-hmm.
I type 9 and my o'clock, and then it automatically will then add the colon, 00, and o'clock with that stroke.
And the o'clock? Ouch. Let me try to. We'll have to go into your dictionary and see how it's defined.
Okay.
Do it right now. Do it right now, let me see it.
Like that's what I
Now do F9. Yes.
and then I also finished
You
with
have
this.
another?
If you do A-O-E-T, it knows to do it to time.
That's right. You know what I mean?
Six, A-E-D.
For 18.
I think we'll be back next
It
week.
automatically changes it to time.
Time, yeah, so often you have any numbers and start getting like an extra time and different things.
Really? Go into your user
Like
settings.
he's, when I talked to Jonathan, he was just devastated. And I told him, "Look, it's tough, you know, because he needs to take care of how he feels. And now his friends, you know what I mean? Like you, so. He said nosotros andaba enseñando mucho.
But I said just like, when I had that funeral, like a few weeks ago, it was very recent because this somebody down, my friend, who was already going to him 67. So, I mean, of course, the family was sad, but it was like, it was time for him to go. So it's very, very different.
Pero tenía una niña, ¿no?
I know.
She was a baby, ¿no? She was a baby.
I just assumed she was dead.
Sí, yo digo que eso me pegó tanto.
No sabía eso.
I had issues this year.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Okay, on your dictionary cleanup, like I was telling you, it's real important to go in there and clean your dictionary. So when you go in there, go into F9, go into your main dictionary, and off to the left, it should tell you, if you want to find something. Does it? It should be number 1. What does it say?
On mine it says one more and then dash numbers under job and then the main tutorial. Is it because we're in a
Because
tutorial?
we're in tutorial, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you probably need to get out of that tutorial.
Okay. Let's see if I can- So,
You need to get out of that job too.
so where do I go?
Go to the main,
Do I just, let me see. if I
just
can
click
get-
out of that small one. Yeah,
And then just-
now do Alt U.
Alt U or F9?
I'm sorry, F9.
Okay. It's
Yes.
still like, what is it supposed to say?
Hmm?
What is it supposed to say?
You want to go into your main dictionary, press OK. And then go into number 1, find entries.
Number 1?
And then it'll tell you numbers. Number 6 is
Oh, okay, I
numbers.
see.
So when you push number 6, it's going to give you all of your numbers.
When we're in the dictionary, you want us to go where?
Hmm?
When we're in the dictionary, you want us to do what?
Go to number 1. And then go to number 6. Go to number 1. Get out of that. Number 1.
Again?
And now number 6, numbers.
Whatever.
And then it'll take you to all your numbers. Everything that has to do with numbers, go in there. So if you want to go into something else,
What do I do?
you can get out of that.
I'll just exit from here?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that goes back to the job.
Okay, go into F9.
And then, I guess that is my new
Yeah,
dictionary.
you always want to go into your main.
Okay.
And then number 1.
Where it says find entries.
Yeah. So it'll give you everything that's capitalized, all of your conflicts, all of your phrases, all of that stuff. It'll show you all of that stuff. You got it?
Yes, all the numbers.
Yeah.
Because I'm not.
So if you go into that thing, it'll show you all your numbers. Okay. So this was the old way of doing it. So they're going to show you that, the old way of doing it, which was when you wrote out 1, it was written out as a number. You don't do it anymore. All you do is 1, O-N-E. Okay? That's if you write out the numbers. So when it's written out, that's how you define it. You don't have to define written number bar strokes. Okay? So you don't have to worry about that. All right? Does that make sense to you guys?
It does.
Are y'all listening?
Yes.
Okay. So when you use your number bar, if and when, or if you use your number bar, you don't have to define it as anything. Okay? And when you define it, your stroke 1, that's how you do it, O-N-E. And it already knows. Same thing with dollars. Okay? That was the old way of doing it, where you had the money sign and the caret, which you need to put it together. You don't do it anymore. All you define it is dollars. And it's going to know that when it's with a number, that it'll automatically convert it. Okay? Same thing like, when you stroke DZ. Like when they talk dollars, like $7, I do 7D. I don't do DZ. But, it's kind of the same thing. So that's a stroke for dollars that you have. This was the old way of doing it. This is how you do it now. Okay? So they almost make it like a conflict, I guess, is what they do. Because, I guess, if that's the way you write ED, and you accidentally stroke the Z, I don't know why they added the ED on there. They made it as a conflict. See these little bars right here? They made it as a conflict, which, you really shouldn't have to do. But, I mean, if you want to put it in there, if you know that you're going to stroke the $ every time, my D with the number always knows that it's going to be $1. It's always going to be converted to dollars, okay? Or, because I write them in the same stroke. All right, 1D, 7D, 8D, whatever, okay? So if you do $5 and you do it in one stroke, then that's the way that it needs to be defined, okay? 5, bracket, open bracket, close bracket, and then dollars. That's only if you do it in one stroke, okay? So if you write your dollars in one stroke, like I do, then this is the way that it needs to be defined, okay? So that it knows to put the number together, or whatever. But sometimes, you'll have something where, and I do it by the way that it sounds. It says $7, 7D. But sometimes they'll say $438. Well, I don't hear the 438D sometimes or whatever, so I'll write 438, then dollars, DLARS. And then that's when this comes in effect. When you just stroke it as dollars and it knows when it's with numbers, it automatically converts it to a dollar symbol. Okay? But if you write it in one stroke, then that's the way you need to define it. Now here's where they're telling you, if you do it in 2 strokes, this is the old way of doing it. The new way of doing it through Eclipse, which I don't have to worry about the old way, all you do is define dollars. That's all you do. You don't have to get overly fancy with it. It already knows what to do. So all you have to do is define dollars, and it knows that with a number, if you use the number bar, that it's going to convert it to dollars. Okay? Same thing with cents. However you stroke out cents is the same way. This was the old way of doing it. All you have to do now is just define it as CENTS. But if you do it in one stroke, then this is the way you need to define it. Okay? So if you do it in one stroke, where you do 1 OS as 10 cents, then that's the way you need to define it. Got it? Same thing with 100. All you need to do is define it. Now if you do, the 100, you don't need to define the 1. You don't need to define it as 100 or 1HUNDRED. All you do is just define the 100. That's all you need to do. Okay? Also, if you do it in $100, this is the way that it's defined. You can do it either way. It's going to know either way. And that's what it's telling you right there. That's going to be the easiest way to do it, guys. So you don't mess it up with the brackets or have some, because if you put 100 space, open bracket, close bracket, space, dollars, you've already messed it up. Okay? So just keep it as simple as you can. All right? $25,000, same way. You don't need to do anything with the 25. All you have to do, and it's telling you right there, only thing you have to do is just to define the 1,000. Same thing with 100,000. So if he says 100,000, which would be 100,000 for me, then you just define them separately. Hun is 100, thou is 1,000. Same thing with if you do it in $1,000. You know, and you do it in one stroke, same thing. It's just kind of giving you, you know, it's gonna go to $1 million, it's the same thing, and it's gonna be the same strokes. Okay, now if they say, how much was it? It was 7.3 gallons, okay? This is how you define it now. So if they say, well, what's the point? What's the point in doing that? I do it with a T, P-O-I-N-T. But if they say it was 7.3, I do it this same way too, point, okay? And this is the way that it's defined, and this was the old way of doing it. You don't have to do it that way anymore. It already knows to put it together, okay? Okay? Make sure that you define it that way, and it's all in caps, okay? All it says is decimal, that's it. Point is decimal, okay? Okay, now here on, like time, you know, where they say it's, it was at 10 a.m., you know, or whatever. You can make it as a conflict or, you know, not. I don't do mine, you know, mine knows when it comes up as numbers that it already knows. But if you don't use the numbers, then you're going to have to probably create it as a conflict. Okay? Same thing with PM. Well, I mean, there's not going to be a PM unless you have a stroke for PM.
PM,
Hmm?
PM with the asterisk.
Do you have a stroke for PM? Is PM a brief or something?
Same as AM.
Huh?
The same as AM is. Just like AM with the
Yeah.
asterisk. Yeah. And then PM is just.
See, and I do mine with the asterisk too. I do my AM, PM with the asterisk, but I don't have a stroke for PM. I don't have a brief for PM.
So you would just do P.
I do P star M anyway, just because I know with time, I do the A star M, just to kind of keep it as conflict free as I can.
Yeah.
Because if I want IM, then I just write AM. So it already knows, put it, you know, with AM by itself, it's AM, but A asterisk M means time. Okay? So you want to try to keep it as conflict free as you can. Okay? But if you don't hear it that way and it doesn't work for you and you just want to stroke AM, then you need to create it as a conflict. Okay? Okay. Now here what they're saying is when you do 7 o'clock in one stroke, okay, and some people do it. This is the way that o'clock needs to be defined, okay? Now if you do it in one stroke, then it needs to be defined as that. 7, no space, open bracket, close bracket, o'clock, okay? Does that make sense? And the same thing with o'clock, all you do is just o'clock, and it already knows. Okay? You know, if you do miles per hour, I don't do it. I kind of stroke it out. So, I mean, if you do the MIRS, help yourself. But that's the way you define it. Miles, open bracket, close bracket, and hour. Okay? If not, then you just write miles, and it just needs to be defined as miles. They're telling you right here, if you wrote 25 separate stroke pound, you don't need to define it as 25 pounds. Okay? All you need to do is just define pound. okay? So if you do hyphen, you know, and you have a stroke for hyphen, which, you know, is HF or H, you know, if you want to do it, I think I do it H long IF, hyph, okay? Then this is the way that you need to define it. Number sign, open bracket, number sign, which means a number, then the numeral, you want the numeral in there, which means the number. 1, 2, 3, not ONE, TWO, you want the numeral. No space, hyphen, close bracket, open bracket, same thing on the other side, so it knows to put it together, okay? That's the only one that's kind of confusing, or what, like, you know, it seems like a lot. It seems like, you know, they're making you define a lot there. You know, which they usually keep it pretty simple, but, anyway, but yeah, that's how you have to do it for hyphen and slash, okay? So here it's telling you, you know, if that's the way that you write it, May 1st. That's not the way that I write it. I mean, I do my May and May differently. I do my May month with an asterisk. I do it the same way with an asterisk, and then it has the number. And I do all of my Roman numerals with E. So I do 1E, 2E, 3E, 4E for Roman numerals. You can do it however you want. You know, if you do first, FIRS, you know, which is what they're doing here, then it already knows. It's telling you right here. Eclipse already knows numbers immediately following months require digits, or digits with ordinal endings, okay? So you don't have to define it as May 1st. It should already know. But make sure that you define it differently. The months, okay? I would suggest you do it differently. And I think May, I would do all my months differently. You know, because even like Jan is the name of a female, can be. So, you know, you're gonna hear January probably a lot more than you hear Jan, but I do all of my months with an asterisk. Okay? Whether you do it or not, up to you. But, you know, I would probably suggest that you do it all the same way. This way you kind of get used to doing it.
What is your December?
DES. DES asterisk. Because if they say, we'll write a decimal, and you do DES, MAL, you know, 2 strokes, then it's gonna come up December mall. Okay, that's what I'm saying. You need to figure out a different stroke for your months. Okay? Okay, and here is the way that they kind of tell you, you know, when you're going to define certain things and you want, you know, numbers written out and you have a certain stroke for it, that's the way that you would do it. The pound sign with the W, the capital W, means to put it in words. The G means generic digits. Okay, so when it's with a number and the capital G, then it's going to know to put it in generic. With time is the same way, and that may be something you need to look at. Is it needs to be defined as this. I don't know why yours is coming out. I mean, because it's just numbers and it's coming out as time, so I think it's something in your user settings. But, I mean, when I do my time conversion, this is how I write time. So when they say it's gonna be January 23rd at 9, I do 9 and then I do time like that. Time with an asterisk means converted to a time. 9:00, okay? So you have to have these strokes that tell it to convert it. Because if you don't have something that says convert it, then it doesn't do it, and usually it's with time. Like with everything else, you already have dollars, cents, whatever, so that's the trigger word to trigger it, to change it to money. Time doesn't know that. So you have to have a trigger word that triggers it to tell it that it's gonna be converted to time. Make sense? Yes? No?
David, my tutorial is very different from yours, and I cannot find that right there.
Did you just scroll down on the numbers?
Yeah.
You scrolled all the way down and it's not in there?
What,
All the
what,
way down?
he's on page 8.
Let's see, yeah, my page 8 is different.
You probably just need to reload it. You may have done something different. Hmm? On the what?
Yeah, go to your page 8 and see what you get.
We started getting those countries.
Yeah, but what, you're on page 10.
Okay, that is page 8.
The what?
If you touch the screen, things will come up. In my page, this is page 7.
Keep going up, because we haven't covered that.
And that's the time. Mine is just different from yours, because this is, and I'm in numbers.
Okay, get out of that. Go into help. No, you went into the wrong
I went into it, it says numbers.
one. Get out of that.
Okay.
Go into help. It's a lesson player, it's not install lesson. Right, you don't have any of them in there. Okay. So get out of that.
We can do this later, that's fine, I'll just follow you along, but I want to be able to find it
Well,
later.
I'm gonna tell you how to do it real quick, it's not
Okay.
really,
So I get out of that,
Go
and go
into
back to
help.
help.
Lesson install.
Do I highlight the whole thing?
Click on the first one. And do shift arrow down. And just go all the way down. All up. Okay, go to the top again, you're gonna have to do it all over again, don't go all the way. Click
Oh,
on the
not
first
that last one?
Yeah, not the last two.
Okay.
So if you keep your finger on it, if you go down to the last one, then just arrow up.
Mhm.
Okay, now arrow up. Okay, now push enter. Okay, now go into your lesson. And there we are, I'll go on the numbers.
Numbers. What difference does it make? It looks the same.
It may have
Okay.
changed. Now is it
Now you're
different?
page 8 or?
Page 8, see what you got.
Yeah, there it is,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So this is how you do it. So if you want it in words, written out in words, that's a symbol, W, generic, time, ordinals, time, Roman numeral. So they all have a symbol. If you want to change it to a date, the date conversion, it's a number sign D, okay? Is that the way you do it, AOE? What were you doing? Oh, yours was 18. It was AED, or what was it?